Welcome to the 27th Washington High Athletic Hall of Fame gathering. I was going to say annual. We missed, of course, one year during COVID, and we're back together. It's a joy to have everybody here tonight, and I can tell you that you're going to find the slate of inductees to be very impressive, and it's an outstanding group. I've been a part of this for many years. I was a chair for several years, and I learned that no good deed goes unpunished, but it all seems to come together, and we are so grateful to be back here at Old Washington, the Pavilion. For many years, we were in different places across the city, and we were always treated well, but when I was a chairperson, one of my goals was to come back to this building and be here, and many of you either taught here, went here, or played basketball for me here, assistant. That's a long story. I'll get into that maybe later. You were on the site of the first building that was built in 1873. In 1879, a brick structure was put together on this spot called Central High School. In 1908, the north wing, which is a visual art area, was built. That is the oldest part of this building as far as it exists because, of course, Central was torn down. This was not a stage and gymnasium until later. The original gym was around the corner, and the pylons are still there. That's another long story, which I'll lead into possibly later. But this area that you're in right now is quite historic in many respects. So in 1934, the old Central was demolished. The new parts of this building were put together, and what you have is former Washington High and now the Pavilion. And since 1992, this current Washington has been the Washington High School, and it's a beautiful building also, and it's hard to believe that we're going on 34 years of that building also. I was lucky enough to teach there for 20 years and coach also, and I'm a graduate of this particular building, so they might just stuff me and put me in the first row at some point in time. So I also want to bring light to the Washington Alumni Hall, third floor. It's free. Please stop up there sometime. The retired teachers and folks have put together really a neat room up there, and there are plaques up there, and there are showcases that were by the office down here that are up there that represent each decade of this Washington High. And you'll see a lot of familiar faces in there and a lot of really neat memorabilia. There is a classroom that's been restored, so please stop up there sometime and write your name down. And the old hallway is still there, the old tile on the hallway, the old side of the building, the inside of the building is there also. And I always want to give that a plug because they've done really a nice job with that. So you're aware of what goes on tonight. The introduction categories are as follows. An athlete who has excelled in athletics at Washington has graduated at least 10 years prior to his or her induction. A coach, a coaching staff member who has made a positive impact on the athletic tradition of Washington and who's been out of coaching for at least 5 years. An administrator, athletic or administrative, who has made a positive impact on the athletic tradition of Washington High and has been out at least 5 years. And a contributor, a community or school person who's made a significant contribution to the Washington High athletic program. And often I receive the question, how do we get somebody in? Write up a bio, get to one of the committee members, or get to Nate Melchow, Principal Papke, and they will take that into consideration, and they would love to have any suggestions, nominees that you might have. I'm going to introduce the Athletic Hall of Fame Committee, and if you'll stand as I mention your name. Jeff Kale, Chair. Jim Trett, he's on his way to Denver. That's why you get 3 of me tonight. Vice Chair Nate Melchow. Treasurer Brian Hermanson. Secretary Shane Riley. Steve Sievertson. Matt Schult, our photographer extraordinaire. Jill Herbert Anderson, yes, she's my sister. And Jamin Ratzlaff. So please give these people a round of applause. I'd like to honor a person tonight. I try to do this every year. I want to honor Jeff Kale tonight. Jeff is the chairperson of this committee. Jeff served in the Gulf War and served in Operation Desert Storm. He called me the night before he was being sent across. It was about 11 o'clock phone call, caller unknown. I picked it up. His voice was trembling, but he served his country well. He was wounded, but he's back. And he's doing things like this to help his community and his former school. You will not find anybody more loyal to Washington High, its history, both past and current, than Jeff Kale. He's a Washington grad. He's an Augustana graduate, and he currently teaches at Harrisburg South, where he continues to wear Washington High attire almost every day. Yes. He's the proud father of 2 fine young women and married to wife Kathy, who's also a teacher at Ben Rifle Middle School. Jeff defends Washington as loyally as he did our country. He does not miss many games and is always cheering on the Warriors. Thank you, Jeff, for serving as the chair of the Washington High Hall of Fame. We greatly appreciate it. My name is Jeff Herbert. I'm a graduate of Washington. I taught at Current Washington and coached there, and I also coached at Old Washington, so it's just been a pleasure to be a part of this. I'd like to have all past inductees stand, if they would, please. Okay, very good. Thank you for being here. I'd like to also introduce all past Washington High coaches, if you'll stand. Thank you. We appreciate you being here very much also. Current Washington High coaches, please stand. Thank you. Thank you for being here. You're the busiest of folks, I know that, so thank you. Please note in your program that there is a list of the Washington High championship history. And I was proctoring tests on Wednesday at Washington High, and I started counting on the banner, and I ran out at 88. It just kept going. It just kept going. My eyes weren't good enough. So please count. Now, if you really want to know how many championships we have here, ask Jeff Kale, because he will tell you. We are honored to have several Washington High students with us tonight, and I would like them to stand. And I'll tell you a little bit about them as they stand, but we really appreciate them being here during their busy season also. So for the boys, Mason Williams, Mason's in football, basketball, and powerlifting. Thank you, Mason. Carter Ackerman. Carter's in football and track. Thank you, Carter. Isabel Sarda. Basketball, softball, track. Thank you, Isabel. Nyrek Kerr is in volleyball and track. Thank you, Nyrek. And Macy Melchow is a volleyball player. Thank you, Macy. I would like principals, both former and past, and I'll read your name, and I don't want to miss anybody, but Jamie Nold, please stand. Carla Midland. Dan Conrad. Carrie Papke. And we'd like to honor these people and thank them for being here. Their leadership at Washington is why we're a great school today. And we just want to thank them for their participation. Athletic directors, both present and former, we'll have Nate Melchow stand. Wayne Carney. Kevin Kennedy. We have the district former AD, Mark Miley. And I think that's where we're at tonight. It's great to have you guys here too. I was Kevin's assistant in the Lee Deadwood system in 1983 in football, and he yelled at me a lot, but that's okay. It built character. We're going to go to the invocation now, and then we'll begin eating. But before I give the invocation, like I said, you're getting a 3-in-1 here tonight because Mr. Trett's on his way to Denver, so bear with me. But as we dismiss, it's very important that the line, as we dismiss, and we'll start down here, but the line does not grow any longer than this table right here, and they'll keep you moving, so we will just go like this, okay? And then we'll kind of snake dance around. Remember snake dances in the old little towns in high school? Please bow your heads and join me in the invocation. Gracious God, we ask your blessing upon these women and men who we honor today for their induction to the Washington High Athletic Hall of Fame. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to gather here today. Thank you for the friends and family who came to support and encourage these individuals. Thank you for protecting us as we traveled and provide an opportunity to meet, learn, and grow. As we begin our ceremony, we dedicate this time to you. We pray for the presenters, attendees, and volunteers who made this ceremony possible. Thank you for the blessing, our time together. Help us renew old friendships, make new connections, gain wisdom, and do the work you've set before us. We give you honor and glory, Lord. Amen. So, these guys will start. I'm sorry. I'm a little backwards here. So we'll just go this way and then so forth, okay? Enjoy your meal, and I'll be back with you in a little while. We'll get started. Hopefully you enjoyed your dinner. It sure smelled good, looked good, and the rolling pin has done a fantastic job, so we really appreciate their work. We'd like to thank Tori for being here from the Sioux Falls School District. This will be broadcast from time to time. I've had people come up to me and say they saw me on TV, and I asked them if it was the time I robbed a bank or not, and they didn't know what to say. But anyway, you can watch this. It's a keepsake, especially for the people that are going in tonight. It's a treasure. So sit back, enjoy. The night is young, but it will grow old very quickly in the sense that people will be up here and sharing, and then the evening will be over with, so please savor the moment. To begin with here, just to set the tone, I have a poem by Kipling called If. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too, if you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being hated and don't give way to hating, and yet don't look too good nor talk too wise, if you can dream and not make your dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet triumph with disaster, if you can treat those two impostors just the same, if you can bear to hear the truth you've spoken, twisted by knaves to make trap of fools, or watch the things you gave up your life to, broken and stoop, and build them up with worn-out tools, if you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it all and turn, pitch, and toss, and lose, and start again at your beginnings, and never breathe a word about your loss, if you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your long after they are gone, and so hold on when there is nothing in you except the will which says to them, hold on. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings, nor lose your common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men and women count with you, but none too much, you can fill the unforgiven minute with 60 seconds worth of distant run. Our first inductee tonight is Jamie Nold, Dr. James Nold, James Nold, depending on what you want to call him, he'll accept any of those. Jamie was the principal of Washington High School for 10 years, 2006 to 2016. Prior to that, he taught at Washington. Actually, prior to that, he was an assistant principal at Lincoln. Jamie came back to Washington and served as a principal then for 10 years. The quote that I am attaching to Jamie tonight: "You can't lead people if you don't love them. You can't save people if you don't serve them." And I think that fits Jamie Nold very well. Jamie Nold said that he cherishes his time and memories of Washington High and knows that once a warrior, always a warrior, is a true statement as he tries to contain his cheering for Washington during inter-city games. Now, before you come up, we want all folks to come up on this side, and when you go off the other side, you'll get your award and with the person that sponsored you. So just so we have the track records there. I am very pleased to announce Jamie Nold to come to the podium.
I should just say ditto and end it there, but you're not that lucky. So first and foremost, I want to thank the committee, and I appreciate the work that they do for Washington High School and maintaining the history of Washington High School and recognizing those individuals that have given so much to Washington. So I thank the committee and was truly humbled when they called this summer to extend that offering to me. So it's just a great thing to be able to be recognized and go in with others that I cheered for and watched as we went through many of the years. One thing I'll talk about tonight is my family. And family means so many different things to me depending on the context of who you're with at that time. I try to keep in my life in order 4 things: my faith, my family, my friends, and my career. And you would look at my timesheets at times and say, well, you got those out of order. And that's probably true if you were to look at it that way. But it is truly what I base myself on so I can keep myself grounded in doing work with kids. And I loved that type of a career, to be able to spend my time with students at Washington High School, no question about it. I grew up in a booming metropolis of Chester, South Dakota, if any of you know where that's at. And my parents, which were incredible parents, are here tonight, Rodney and Cheryl Nold. And so I thank them for raising me in a Christian family and just being able to support us. All our kids were involved in activities, and believe it or not, at one time I was an athlete. I know I'm not going in as an athlete, but at one time I was an athlete. And my dad used to tell me as he took us around to the AAU wrestling, he would drop me off at a neighbor's house and they would run us to all these wrestling events when we were little kids. And he'd say a quick little prayer with me and then say, Jamie, it doesn't matter if they're better than you, just don't let them beat you. And I kind of thought about that a little bit, especially as I got older and go, I think that was a compliment, but I'm not 100% sure. But one thing that it was true was hard work. Hard work a lot of times will overcome so many other things, including talent, when you put that work ethic into it. And that was something that my family taught me at a very young age. So I appreciate my parents being here, and my sister Kim. She was the middle kid of 2 brothers on each side, so she got picked on all the time. So that was my family, and I went off to Augustana College where I met my wife, Tammy. We didn't get married till a few years later, but went there, and my first interviews to teach afterwards was at Watertown. And I did accept a job there. Matter of fact, Randy McEwen was the principal there, and he called me and said, Jamie, we loved your interview, thought you'd be a great fit here in the math department. And, I just want to also tell you that I've never met a wrestler that's smart before. And again, it was one of those things that I wasn't quite sure if that was a compliment, so I didn't know if that was going to be a trend for myself or not. But I thanked him and took the position there, and I enjoyed my time at Watertown. But 3 years later, was able to get married to Tammy, and we had 2 beautiful kids, Riley and Haley, and they both went through Washington High School. They had a little trouble with their academics while they were there, but if you know my kids, they did well academically and loved their time at Washington High School. And it was a place that prepared them incredibly well to do anything that they wanted to do, and I mean anything. So we are very thankful for Washington, no question about that, and the staff that have been there and worked with them, whether it's in coaching or teaching. But that's where my family started to expand, is at Washington High School, where I started to meet individuals, and I was there working with the kids. And people usually would introduce themselves and say, yeah, I have 2 kids, they're in this activities. And I'd usually get up and say, I have 1,900 kids. And they're all in these different activities, because I loved every one of those things that they were involved in. You just get to know them and build that relationship with them. But that's where I started out, and Mark Murren will say that he got me my first job there. And he may be correct in some ways. Carla Midland, I think, had a little more to say about that than Mark did. But Mark put some good recommendations in. I asked him not to say too much, because I wasn't sure if it was going to be good or not, depending on how Carla would take that. But that's where my family expanded, and I was able to meet individuals like Doug Rinkin, and we coached together. Had a lot of fun memories of doing that with freshman football and wrestling. We'd spend nights in the Brookings gym, overnight in the Brookings gym. That wasn't necessarily the best things, but we got snowed in there. Or Rapid City, when we go out there to Rapid City, and there was absolutely no heat in the hotel. And it's about 10 below and just freezing cold. There's no heat. We call down, and can you turn the heat on? And they bring up a stack of blankets instead and say, here you go. And we didn't quite think that was what should have been, but loved my time there as a teacher and a coach. Left Washington for a few years and was able to, in 2006, the opportunity came open again when Bill Hoff had retired, to be able to come back to Washington High School. And the blessing of that, to be able to have Pam Holman offer that position to me, because it was truly a place that fit me. Hardworking kids, hardworking families, people that cared for each other. And that was, again, the expansion of my family there. And came in and worked with individuals like Kevin Kennedy, and we worked through the athletics, and just loved that time doing that. Was able to hire my first administrator as part of our team with Dan Conrad, and called Dan and just said, Dan, I've never met a basketball player that smart before. Oh, baseball, basketball. I've always wanted to say it to a basketball player since somebody said it to me about wrestling. But was a great team there and grew great friendships in that. And that's truly how you expand the family, with individuals that you work with, and a lot of people that just had a lot of the same dedication to helping kids succeed. And loved that time there. We worked through with so many kids, and able to hire Nate Melchow as well, and Nate came into that. Nate and I had one really, really true rule. Anytime Nate and I were together, if we were both standing, Nate had to be how far apart? 10 feet apart. That was the rule. And I don't know if you could notice this or not, but I'm a little bit shorter than Nate. And we still have a photo. I was going to share it up here of myself and Nate and Farniak all standing together. I looked kind of a little bit like a midget in the group. I was almost as round as I was tall. It appeared in that photo anyway. But a lot of those memories of just going through and working with kids and having that excitement. During that time at Washington, we'd won 33 state championships in the 10 years. And that was awesome. It was a great time just to be able to go through and celebrate with kids. And you still remember some of those where we came up short, where we may have been the #1 ranked team, and you go through the competition and you came up just short. Those were just as memorable. And a lot of times kids will come up to me now and say, hey, do you remember me? I was in trouble on this, or do you remember me for this? And you don't remember those things, because every kid grows up and becomes a pretty good adult. And they work through those things, because we were all kids at one point in time. We remember some of those things we did. But you still remember those kids and just the importance they had to Washington High School. And so many memories there, but the biggest thing that I would tell you, and when they asked me, what are some of your greatest things that you did there, or things that you enjoyed the most, and the things that were the toughest? No question, the toughest, some will think it was dances, and I didn't like dances. That was one of the things that I don't know how Carrie did that. She got no homecoming dance this year. I tried that for 10 years, and I couldn't get that done. So she achieved more in that 1 year than I did in 10. But the toughest thing was the loss of students or staff. That was by far the hardest, because it was part of our family. And we got to know each other so well and cared for each other so much and worked together in so many ways that when you lost a student or a faculty member, that was difficult. And what were the greatest things? Anytime we were working with kids and the excitement of what they were doing and seeing them grow and mature through competition, seeing them grow and mature through their academics, that time that we spent together in the classroom and working in there was truly what made it all worthwhile. And those are things that I miss. It still is difficult now to this day to go to competitions. And even though I'm supposed to be somewhat neutral, I still catch myself very much so cheering for one team more than the others at times. And that's okay, because I truly believe it comes back to once a warrior, always a warrior. And I was truly blessed to be able to be the principal at Washington High School for those 10 years. And that is why this is my family. So thank you. I greatly appreciate it, and I thank the committee. Thank you.
Washington High School is proud to induct Jamie Nold, Dr. Jamie Nold, into the Washington High School Athletic Hall of Fame. LaDon Nesci. A good coach can change a game. Great coaches can change a life. Trust your team, trust your coach, trust yourself. It was during my high school years under the guidance of Pam Johnson, who was an inductee, where I first considered adding coaching to my potential career options. While supporting Orange and Black, I competed in volleyball, basketball, tennis, and track. I love downtown Washington, its location, 12th and Main, its rich athletic traditions, the pep rallies in the auditorium, and the friendships that those formative years cultivated. The teachers, coaches, and administrators encouraged independence, belonging, generosity, and mastery long before the circle of courage values were adopted. I am pleased to introduce to you LaDon Nesci.
Okay, that was awkward. Here.
COVID's over.
Okay. Well, I didn't really want to follow up Mr. Knowles, but Toastmaster I am not, so I'm reading. Oh, I forgot my cup of water. All right. Here we go. Good evening. I'm humbled and honored to accept this induction into the Washington High School Athletic Hall of Fame. A favorite quotation of mine that sits above my desk at school is written by Dirk Wittenborn. It says, we are the sum of all the people we've ever met. You change the tribe, and the tribe changes you. I like this quote because it runs parallel with my thinking that in this life, there are no accidents. Everything happens for a reason. We are the sum of all the people we've ever met. You change the tribe, and the tribe changes you. I was first ever made aware that there was a special group of people with intense school pride in an iconic building in downtown Sioux Falls when I was in the 3rd grade. Apparently, I had a new pair of sneakers. I don't remember what was said, who said it, or even how it made me feel, but I do remember the words spoken by Mrs. Munns, my 3rd grade teacher. She said, "Don't let those kids bother you. If they were to go downtown to Washington High School, everyone would be wearing those shoes." It's interesting that 44 years after the fact, I can still hear her crackly, high-pitched voice trying to protect me. The new sneakers were black Nikes with a white swish, completely neutral and normal by today's fashion-forward footwear standards, but clearly hideous to the 9-year-old girls that made up room 302 at Garfield Elementary. I imagine that the design of choice was something in pink or purple, probably giving strawberry shortcake vibes. I had zero interest in pink. I didn't really like purple or a doll called strawberry shortcake. The sneakers that I sported suited my 9-year-old self just fine. A little athletic, a little practical, and a lot tomboy. Mrs. Munn's words hinted at a unique society where school colors unite people, where black sneakers were accepted and people connected through sports. I knew of this Washington High School that she spoke of, but only because my brother was on the wrestling team there. Her words brought the reality to me that someday soon, I too would become a Washington Warrior. 7 years later, in 1986, I proudly became a student of WHS. I enjoyed my time at Washington and was fortunate to compete on many of their sports teams. The school spirit was beyond compare. Droves of students, family members, and staff attended games, matches, and contests. The late 80s was a great time to be a Warrior. We are the sum of all the people we've ever met. You change the tribe, and the tribe changes you. Following graduation, I attended Northern State University and was fully prepared for the rigors of college academia, thanks to the dedication and professionalism of my high school teachers. Similarly, my Washington coaches prepared me for the next level of competition, both on the volleyball court and the softball field. I recall a time when my college world and my high school days collided. My volleyball team was completing our very precise pre-practice warm-up, and our coach noticed an orange and black braided cord that was a permanent fixture on my ankle. She was a bit agitated, as she most always was, and yelled, "Why do you wear that thing? You're not a Warrior anymore. You're a wolf. Cut that ridiculous thing off your leg." I quickly tucked the anklet into my sock and continued with practice, hoping that she would forget about it. I could just not bring myself to cut the anklet off. But from that day forward, I was more careful to keep it hidden. My Warrior pride simply ran too deep. I was a Warrior in wolf's clothing. The 90s were a great time to be a Warrior. We are the sum of all the people we've ever met. You change the tribe, and the tribe changes you. As my belief claims that there are no accidents, the opportunity revealed itself in the summer of 2000, when the volleyball job at my alma mater became available. My brain was in summer mode, and I did not even have a job change in mind until I got the call. To set the stage, I had been the JV volleyball coach at Lincoln High School for 3 years, while teaching 7th grade language arts at Axtell Park Middle School. The head coach, Erica Palladino, was made aware of the vacancy at Washington and thought of me. She called our home that summer day, but I wasn't at home. I was at my parents' lake cabin, and Jared was at work. Fortunately, Jared's nephew was living with us at the time and took the call. He told Coach Palladino that I wasn't home, and she asked for the number at the cabin. I have no idea how our nephew Brandon broke my Rolodex category code. A Rolodex is the thing that winds around that has numbers in it. Okay? They're listed alphabetically. Okay? Anyway, my nephew figured out that the lake property phone number was found under C, naturally, for cabin. There are no accidents. Y2K was a great time to be a Warrior. We are the sum of all the people we've ever met. You change the tribe, and the tribe changes you. My work world had been opened to some amazing mentors, both in administration and in athletics. Sitting around the interview table were District Athletic Director Mark Miley, Washington Athletic Director Wayne Carney, our head principal Carla Midland, and the assistant principal Bill Hoff, all meaningful mentors to me. Beyond the interview room, I feel so fortunate to have had influential leaders in athletic directors Kevin Kennedy and Nate Melchow, and administrators Jamie Nold, Dan Conrad, and Carrie Papke, all of whom have been and continue to be instrumental in my teaching and coaching. Signing that contract also brought opportunities to me to hire assistant coaches. They started out as strangers and became some of my best friends. Working alongside people with whom I share a common goal was energizing. Building cohesive teams from individuals was a challenge that our coaching staff was excited to tackle. Evaluating offenses run by opposing teams and creating defenses to combat the attack was a puzzle that we craved to solve. Providing tactical tools to give our athletes confidence and a winning edge was what guided each practice plan and subsequent practice session. But at the foundation of each coach that stood beside me was our collective desire to build meaningful relationships with our Warrior athletes. Athletes are the real MVPs of tonight's ceremony, without whom we would have no reason to celebrate. I have more stories than time when it comes to the interactions with our Warrior volleyball athletes. So much is learned from participating in high school sports. Many of life's virtues are explored: fairness, integrity, responsibility, and respect. The volleyball athletes that I coached were the best of the best, the cream of the crop. Kids who have gone on to impact positively their new communities. I deeply treasure the years that I was allowed to grow with them. I have so many, pretty good. I have so many cherished memories because of them. We are the sum of all the people we've ever met. You change the tribe, and the tribe changes you. 2023 is a great time to be a warrior.
Washington High is proud to induct LaDon Nesci into the Washington High Athletic Hall of Fame. The Walker family. We have Tim, Heather, Whitney, Amy, Brock, and Ellie. All went to Washington, all had a different story. Tim and Heather wanted to get more students involved and make sure game day shirts were ready to go, and the Warrior Mobile was gassed up and ready for the next game. Thousands of students have been impacted by the generosity of the Walker family through donations, resources, and pride generated by the shirts given out at every game. Once a Warrior, always a Warrior. We make a living by what we get. We make a life by what we give. Winston Churchill. Amy Walker is here to accept on behalf of her family, and I'm pleased to introduce Amy Walker.
First of all, I want to thank the committee for this award. I'm Amy. I'm the second oldest of the Walker family. Unfortunately, I'm the only one in the family that can make it tonight, but we are all very grateful to receive this award. It is a great honor to each and every one of us. If there's one thing I hope you all know about the Walker family, is we all love Washington High School. Some of you may have never guessed this, but neither of my parents attended Washington High School. In spite of that, my parents not only wanted to give their own 4 kids every opportunity they could to succeed in high school, but they also wanted to give that same opportunity to as many WHS students they could. So once again, thank you for inducting my family into the Washington High School Hall of Fame.
Washington High School is proud to induct the Walker family into the Washington Hall of Fame, and thank you, Amy. Alex Waddell. One run can change your day. Many runs can change your life. Are we off, somebody? Alex, you've changed. Okay, well, sorry about that. Emma Hansen, your passion and dedication can't be some time, part-time, or spare time. It has to be all time. Volleyball. We have the speed of a sprinter, the pain tolerance of a football player, the endurance of a swimmer, the vertical of a cheerleader, the strength of a bodybuilder, and the balance of a gymnast. Emma was part of the state varsity AA championship team in 2010 basketball team with Coach Malchow. Emma went on to play a year of NCAA Division I volleyball at the University of Kansas, where she helped her team to the Sweet 16 for the first time in program history. There's so much more to say, Emma, but I know you're going to fill in the blanks for us. I am pleased to introduce Emma Hansen-Ferris.
A couple of my English teachers are here, and I apologize because I am going to be reading as well. So, I would like to kick this off by congratulating all of the other inductees here tonight, as well as those who were inducted before us. It is such an honor to be joining the list of incredible names of former Warrior athletes, coaches, and others who played a key role in making Washington High School athletics as special as they are. Next, I'd like to thank everybody on the committee who made this wonderful event possible. I am so honored and humbled to be here tonight. Back in February, I happened to be out in Arizona visiting my parents for a few days, and I had a missed call and a voicemail from Jill Anderson. It was a bit odd. I love you, Jill, but she left me a very serious voicemail saying, please call me back. And we had never talked on the phone before, so I was nervous. So I went into the other room, I gave her a call back, and she shared with me that she had recently joined the Washington High School Athletics Hall of Fame Committee, and she could hardly wait to tell me the exciting news that I would be part of this year's group of inductees. Getting that call from Jill was very, very special. She was my second grade teacher, and I believe my oldest brother's second grade teacher as well, so she's been very special to our family for a very, very long time. So I went out into the living room to break the news to my parents in person, to which my mom cried. My dad had a big, proud smile on his face, and I think maybe a tear in his eye too. We'll never know for sure, but being able to share this news with them in person was very, very special, as they have been my #1 supporters in everything I've ever done. Before I thank my parents in detail, there's a couple other important people in my life that I want to thank. One is my Uncle Rick. He asked me to not go into detail, but it's pretty special to have an uncle that was very supportive in all of my athletics. He was at all of my games. He even got t-shirts with my number on it. And I just think that that's awesome that he's here, so thank you. Next, I would like to thank my husband, Colin. We had the unique experience where I actually married one of my teammates' big brothers. So Colin and my in-laws, Mike and Jan, who are here tonight as well, were at many of my games before we ever knew what this would turn into. So thank you, Colin, for your unwavering love and support, and for always allowing me to steal the Warrior limelight, even though you are the true Warrior state champion in our household. 2008 golf, also my big brother Parker as well. So the other individual who I want to thank is actually not here tonight. But I'm sure that he's smiling down proudly from heaven, sorry. My grandpa Millard Harmon taught me how to throw a ball, how to catch a ball, how to walk, and how to run. He spent hours outside with me as a kid, and when it got too cold, we would go in the garage. And we played every sport we could think of. There's been so many others who have played a part in helping me become the athlete that I was, but I truly credit him for getting my love of sports started. Next, I would like to thank my mom, Mary. She was and continues to be my super fan. She never missed a game. You could find her in the cutest black and orange outfits, showing off number 6 or 34 depending on the season. She always made sure I had a Subway sandwich before every game, and she mastered the art of sneaking outside food past other Mary, who was, yep. Mary, if you don't know who I'm talking about, she was the head of the Washington parking lot and gym security. So you can understand how big of a deal that was. My mom was always positive and encouraging, and she could not wait to open up the Argus Leader the morning after my games to see whether or not my picture was in the paper. Next, my father, the famous Tom Hansen. It's important to note that I am not the first in our family to receive an award like this one. My dad was inducted into the South Dakota Coaches Association Hall of Shrine for his refereeing career. He's a bit of a celebrity in the stripes world. Throughout my athletic career, notably basketball, it was rare to enter a gym without someone knowing the Hansen from the Hansen and Reed dynamic refereeing duo. It's hard to explain in what's supposed to be a short and sweet speech how big of an impact my dad had on my athletic career, but what I remember most is this. He knew more about the game of basketball than anyone I'd ever met, but he was never hard on me, he was never hard on my teammates or my coaches, and of course not the refs. He quietly sat toward the top of the bleachers, he cheered respectfully, and he always reminded me that the most important part was to just have fun. He was incredibly supportive and proud, especially when I had a quick athletic stint at his alma mater, the University of Kansas. Rock chalk, and thank you, Daddy-o. My big brothers are both here tonight, which is also very, very cool, and I would like to thank them for letting me be the neighborhood catcher, the outfielder, the wing, and the wide receiver who never got the ball. Any undesirable position, they let me have it, but they let me tag along, and that was very special to me. Next up are my coaches. I like to call myself a 2.5 sport athlete for a couple of reasons. There is one missing up here. I forgot until having to write my bio for this event that I actually dabbled in track and field for a minute. So thank you, Coach Hermanson, here in the front. He let me be on the high jump team. I believe because Coach Melchow wanted us to do a spring sport. So thanks to everyone who did not make me continue in on that. I am much more of an indoor sports type of gal. Coach Neshji, out there somewhere. What a special memory to be inducted here together tonight. Neshji took a chance on me as a freshman. She pulled me up to the varsity squad, and she helped me become a Division I volleyball player. And although short-lived, it was something I never, ever believed would be possible. We didn't bring home any state titles, but we got really close, and we had a lot of fun. Coach Reck, oftenly endearingly referred to as Reckless. Thank you for being a voice of reason from day one, and for cleaning up after me when I got the worst case of food poisoning at the freshman year volleyball state tournament in Brookings. I probably still owe you and many others in the table behind you for that. Coach Melchow. This is another one that's very hard for me to put into words. When I was in 4th grade, Chow was, I think, new to the world of Washington High School. He came to visit me during a gym class at Annie Sullivan, and my memory is that he came specifically to visit me, but thinking back, he was probably just there to talk to the school. Anyway, he invited me to the high school girls basketball open gyms, and I took that invitation very seriously. I started attending and attended religiously from then on. He made the older girls let me jump into the pickup games, and I truly credit him for my basketball success and thank him for teaching me important life lessons along the way. And I would be remiss if I didn't take an opportunity to thank him, all of the other basketball coaches, and my very annoyed teammates for letting me take a quick hiatus from basketball when I was an angsty teenager, and then welcoming me back with open arms and a spot on the roster when I was ready. Yikes, and I am sorry again about that, everyone. That was tough. I got a shout out for Coach Schleckway. He was the mastermind behind our scouting reports and our JV winning record. Similar to Chow, Schleck was with me from a very young age, and there's no way that I would have been able to block as many shots as I did without key skills coaching from Schleck. Coach Toft, who is here with us tonight. During the aforementioned basketball hiatus, Toft called me just about every week. He told me that he was just gonna come pick me up and he was gonna bring me to tryouts. There was not a single doubt in my mind that Coach Toft cared about me. Even when I scored 0 points, yes, 0, at Mitchell, and he recommended that I go back out and sit on the bus until the game ended. Last but not least are my friends and teammates, many of whom are also here tonight. I was so incredibly lucky to have a group of friends who attended almost all of my games, painted their faces, wore my jerseys, traveled to away games, and started the infamous Go Big Emma cheer that I wish they would not have. Of all the people, they heard the most complaining out of me throughout the years, but continued to love and support me anyway. Thank you guys, and again, congratulations to Alex Kuiper on your Spirit of Six award back in high school. I hope to see you on this stage in the coming years. Lastly, my teammates. There was a group of us that played basketball and volleyball together. We coined ourselves the 5-pack. There will never be enough time to cover how special my teammates were and are to me. Through years and years of early morning open gyms, the dreaded volleyball 400 on the first day of practice, basketball closeout drills, mic and drills when Hannah Neiman and Bailey Jorgensen could not make a layup, dancing and singing in the locker room, fist pumps on the basketball court, long rallies on the volleyball court, missed serves, Tabata Tuesdays, team dinners, bus trips, almost winning state championships, speeding back and forth from Wildwater West to open gyms and camps and summer jams. We did it all and we did it together. I love you guys. You will always be like family to me. especially the one who could not be here tonight in person, Lauren Ferreter, commonly known as Low Money in the Warrior world, who made the ultimate sacrifice and let me marry her big brother. Thank you all again for being here, and as always, go Warriors.
Yeah.
Washington High is proud to induct Emma Hanson Ferreter into the Washington High Athletic Hall of Fame. I'm going to ask who's next before I say anything. Okay. As Coach Odney told me, an error was not a mistake unless it went uncorrected, so we'll go with that, okay? Some people think football is a matter of life and death. I assure you, it's much more important than that. As a 4-year letter winner and 3-year starter on the football field, Nate helped the Warriors to 4 consecutive state AA championship games, winning the titles in 2009, 2010, and 2012. Finishing runner-up in 2011. During that time, the Warriors had a combined record of 47 wins and 3 losses. As a 3-year letter winner for the Warriors in track and field, Nate helped the Orange and Black to 3 consecutive state AA boys championships. Nate was a 3-time state qualifier, winning 12 state medals. He was the 100-meter dash champion in 2013, and I could go on, but I know Nate will fill in again some of the blanks. I'm very pleased to introduce to you Nate Garrett.
I'm a little bit different than everybody else. I didn't bring any speech up. I become a free baller. Actually, I tried spending some time this week on making a speech, and every time I came across some of the things that have gotten me to this point, there's too many things to talk about. I grew up on the west side. I attended Oscar Howell Elementary. My whole childhood, I feel I spent outside. A lot of my best memories I was actually able to spend with my brother and sister. I'm the youngest of 3. So a lot of my memories were outside hanging out with them, and I was trying to figure out a lot of the sports at once. My sister was a damn good softball player and volleyball player, and if I wasn't in the front yard, trying to learn how volleyball, I was probably in the backyard, and I was probably geared up in all my catcher gear, and my dad was throwing me fastballs and curveballs, and I was trying to figure out that sport. If I wasn't outside with my dad, I was probably in the front yard trying to figure out basketball with my mom. She was a hell of a basketball player herself. And she lost her knee, obviously back in the day, where her scars are a little bit different than the ones they got now. But I was the youngest brother. My brother Matt, he was a senior when I was a freshman. Growing up, I just wanted to be able to hang out with my brother Matt. A lot of those times, he didn't let me involved with all of his friends, which was okay, because at that time of age, my mom probably didn't want me around hanging with him anyways. But so I went to Memorial. At that time, I was really into baseball. I loved the game of football. I just started really figuring out sports. I came across one of my best buddies, John Hander, who then I met Chris through John. And once again, I mean, we were always outside. We were playing catch with a baseball. We'd throw the gloves down. We'd play catch with a football. And we got to the point where it was 7th, 8th grade, and I was at Memorial. John and Chris were at Edison, and this is back in the day when you can open a roll without any. And my brother actually was 3 years older than me at the time. He made the transition. He wanted to be a basketball star from Memorial to Washington, and At the time, I think there's some good ballers at Roosevelt, and so he made the transition. He hung out with a lot of guys over there, and once it came to that time where me, Chris, and John really kind of tried to figure out where we go, we all lived in 3 different spots, and I mean, Matt, my older brother, just watching him and hanging out with the guys he was a part of, hanging out with Matt Hermanson, and then just obviously fell in love with Coach Hermie. We would love going to the games. I don't know what it was, but just being a part of that, the orange and black, and I wasn't even there yet, it was just something that we all wanted to be a part of. And with that being said, we all 3 made that transition to Washington. And for me, it was a little bit different, I guess for all 3 of us. And I didn't really have friends. All my friends were West Side kids. Didn't really know getting into it. And you know, growing up in middle school, a lot of our competition was Whittier and Patrick, and I was a Memorial kid coming over to obviously fight for a spot. And I played against a lot of those guys, and who are now a lot of my teammates and a lot of my good friends. It was just the way that they welcomed me from the start was just so. It was just something about Washington is just a family-oriented feeling, and one of the best memories I had my freshman year. Coach Hermie actually, it was a homecoming game, and we were able to dress some of the sophomores. I was on the sophomore team my freshman year, and he put the sophomores up on varsity for homecoming, and obviously I wasn't paying attention because I didn't think, hell, I'm not going to get in this game. And Kieran, where you at? Matt. I'm days off, and next thing you know, I'm getting screamed at by 3 different coaches, and I got a different colored jersey than the starters got on, and I get over there, and, do you want to play this game? I want to play for it. Where you been? Well, next thing you know, 2 plays go later, and I get in there, and I was so rattled. It was my freshman year. I was probably going up against the biggest kid in the state, and it was actually one of the coolest moments because I got a tap on my shoulder, just my brother. And he tapped me on my shoulder, and I look back, nervous. He goes, "Don't f this up." And I, you got it, you bet, brother. But it just thinking about it, a lot of these memories that I've actually had the time to, sit back and being honored in this position now. It's just being able to think about all the stuff that got me here, and my family, my mom, my dad. Man, I mean, you talk about support system, you talk about having a dream. My parents were behind me 100%. And it was easy for me to go to school every day and give it all I got because I had Hermie on my side. There's a lot of kids that aren't able to stand where I'm at, and a lot of those kids, you guys know, walked to Washington High, and they didn't have what others kids in that school had. But we all had Hermie, and that meant the world to us. Someone who literally led by example every day. I was a 16, 17-year-old kid competing with a 60-year-old man on a treadmill. I mean, every day you talk about he wanted to be, we wanted to be the best. Well, it was hard not to be when you had someone who showed you the way every time. Just extremely thankful for Hermie. I mean, that's why it was hard for me to write a speech because I tried, Herm. There's so many things that I could be thankful for you, man. I was in a rut when I was in college. Hermie called me, and I was down bad. But I'm just thankful to have him in my corner. I mean, forever and ever, I always have him on speed dial. The mentor he was for me, a father figure, a leader, you can name it. We could be here all night. I just want to say thank you, Ermi, because, man, still this day I look up to you, man, and you've always been there for me through thick and thin. I'm glad that you yelled at Matt and not me. That's the best part about having an older brother. But, I mean, I could be up here all night. I just can't be more thankful for you, Mom, Dad, Matt, and Jen. For me to get to this spot, it's always been about family. I've accomplished a lot of cool things, but every time I walked in a locker room, there's nothing cooler than seeing the name Gary. And that's what's always got me to believe in something for much more. I'll always be grateful for you guys. I love you. That being said, I just loved being a part of the team at Washington. It didn't matter if it was track. I mean, I hated track. I mean, once again, I would not have ran track if Hermie wouldn't have told me he was going to help me be a college football player. I never understood. I just never liked track, mainly because a lot of it was individual sport. I just loved football because the camaraderie, the locker room, being part of a team. Like Emma was saying, just doing all the little things, the summer camps. We used to go build softball fences, and it was the highlight of our summers. Hermie would take us to Beach Ranch. That was sweet. That was cool, man. But as I got older, the reason why we were so good is because we were a team. I ran into Hermie at a wedding, Tommy Hall, who was also a fellow Warrior. And we were talking about, we had some good running backs and all this, and I got to thinking, I'm like, man, I played 4 years. I couldn't tell you one stat I had in high school. But what I could tell you is every jersey number that I played with in all 4 years. And I think that's a testimony to Herm and his coaching staff, because I mean, that's why we were so good, man. We were a family, and that's what Washington Warriors was all about. Be sacrificing for something much more than yourself, because not everybody's got this and that. Not everybody's got, but if we put it all together, we can figure it out, and that's what we did. And that's why, you know, we were so good, but we won a lot of state championships. But I think the best thing is just linking up and all the people that I've been able to be a part of. Washington has always been part of my heart. It was probably the best decision I've made, being the young 28 years of life that I've had. It's really skyrocketing me into my future, and a lot of things that I've learned. We're at the age of 15, 16, 17, 18. And I'm extremely thankful for everybody in here. A lot of you guys have supported me over my career. A lot of you guys probably heard some of my track records or whatever it was, but in about 5 minutes you're going to hear a lot of good ones, because Carrie she's special. So congrats to everybody else. I want to thank you again to the committee that inducted me in the Washington Hall of Fame, and Warrior Pride forever. Thank you.
Washington High School is proud to induct Nate Gary into the Washington High Athletic Hall of Fame. Run with your legs to be fast, run with your mind to be faster. Run with your heart to be unstoppable. During the 2011 state track meet held at Howard Wood Field, Carey became one of the few athletes to win 4 all-class gold medals in a single state event. She won the 100, 200, 400, and long jump, and repeated 3 of the 4 the next year. I'm very pleased to introduce Carrie Heck.
Well, first off, I just want to thank Mr. Herbert for that great introduction, and also thank the organizers of this event for putting it on, and the Hall of Fame committee for selecting me for this honor. When Coach Riley gave me the call to let me know that I had been selected to be inducted into the 2023 Hall of Fame class for Washington, it was a little bit of a flashback and kind of, yeah, track had not been a part of my life for a really long time, and so it was kind of fun to relive some of those memories. And then last night in the Dallas airport, I was yet again reminded that it's been a long time since I've run track as I sprinted through the terminal to make my connecting flight to be here tonight. So yeah, so that was a lot of fun. But first off, you know, I want to congratulate all the other Hall of Fame inductees. I think we all know that it takes a lot of dedication and hard work to create this achievement. But I think the most important thing to acknowledge here tonight is that none of our achievements would have been possible without an amazing support network. So I just want to take my time up here to thank all of the people that have been a wonderful support network for me, especially when I was at Washington. So starting off with the Washington community, you know, it was a great place to grow and develop as a person. You know, it was a place that I felt safe, and so I want to thank, you know, all of the staff and teachers and my friends that were there for allowing me to have that space. I also want to thank all of my coaches and teammates. You know, track is an individual sport, but when you're out there running one of Harrison's 400-meter workouts on the track, it's nice to have support and some other people there with you to be like, oh man, I really don't want to do this last run. So, you know, thank you to all of my teammates who are with me over the years, and thank you to the numerous coaches who I've had over the years who have really provided a lot of motivation and support through both good times and bad times. I think finally I just kind of want to thank my loved ones. So I have my wonderful parents who I think attended every single track meet that I had in high school and in college, and outside of the high school track season would take me around the US to compete in numerous different track events. Also my brothers that I had the honor of going to Washington High School with at some point in time. You know, I know they've always been there for me, always will be, kind of that unspoken bond of support that's really important. And yeah, I really couldn't have done everything that I have in my life up until this point without all of you guys. So with that, I just want to say thank you, and I'm very honored to receive this award.
Washington High School is very proud to induct Carrie Heck into the Washington High Athletic Hall of Fame. Okay, Alex, your turn. Sorry about that. One run can change your day. Many runs can change your life. On the track is where Alex truly excelled in events ranging from the 400 to the 1600. An 8-time Class AA state champion and current school record holder for 3 events, Alex's 7 all-class career gold medals at the state meet ranks 3rd in state history. The meet finished with Alex anchoring the 4x4 to victory and helping the Warriors win back-to-back team titles. I am pleased to introduce and announce Alex Waddell.
Okay. Thanks for everyone coming out tonight. Not a speaker, by the way. I want to thank the Hall of Fame committee for nominating me, and congratulations to every other inductee tonight. Really means a lot to me, something I was looking forward to. Got the phone call and I was like, what? What are you talking about? And then next day it set in and I was like, whoa, This is cool. Well, let's start thanking my my parents, along with all the other very supportive people along the way. The amount of time they spent on getting things ready for me to go to camps, practice meets. Also appreciate all the time you guys took off work to attend meets out of state that I was invited to. We traveled to several meets out of state that I was invited to. Arcadia, California, Carrie Heck and I, special invite out there. Wild time. Never seen just animals like that before. My dad and I traveled to Seattle twice for the Brooks Indoor Invitational. My mom, I believe, came the second time. Both times, sprinting through the airport to make our connecting flights in Minneapolis. The Midwest Distance Gala in Chicago, 10-hour drive. Run the race in a minute, 53 seconds, turn around and go home. My grandma, Peg, who's no longer with us, she was a true fan, never missed one event for any of my brothers and I, whether it was football, hockey, soccer, basketball. Never missed a track meet at all. Also my aunt and uncle, you guys were always there, big supporters. There's a video called WHS Medley Comeback. Nate was a part of that. You can still hear Debbie over the whole dome. Let's go, Alex! It's one thing that I'll never forget. Next, and that was also just check it out sometime, because that's where we went into the meet and we were like, we got this. We're gonna blow this meet record out of the water, and we would have, but we had a little fumble. But one after another, and then we came back and we still won it. It was awesome. So now here's where the real stories start on how I got to where I was at the time. Where I got to the meets and everything was the coaches. I'll start with Mike Schultz. Don't believe he's here tonight, but coached me for 4 years in cross. The research he did and workouts he created for us were incredible. I'll never forget the years that we placed fourth at state cross. He probably ran more and sprinted more of it and completely lost his voice by the end of it. I don't know who was more sore the next day, his athletes or him. Lene Harrison was a huge supporter behind me. You were always complimenting me or giving me pointers towards the next race. Matt Kiso had you as a coach as 8th grade at Patrick Henry. We'll never forget the good old Charleston Chew It Up weekly meet achievement. Also very supportive and gave me pointers on stuff to improve on upcoming races. Ev Gebhardt, most laid back coach I've ever had. During my time attending WHS, Ev had pretty elite track team for several years and did such a great job at supporting all athletes and making sure we all were involved. He also did a great job on working with all the other coaches that worked under him, and that's why WHS was led to back-to-back state championships 2011, 2012 while I attended. I'll never forget my freshman year. We were out in Vermillion at an indoor race at the Dome, and I'd only ran one race, and I was running around. Geb stopped me and handed me a $10 bill and said, "Can you go grab me a Dome Dog and a Mountain Dew?" I said, "Sure, why not?" Oh, Shane Riley, the man behind the speed. He was with me from the start of 7th to 12th grade. He was the coach that was the big brother you never had. We would argue, we'd butt heads, but at the end of the day, we'd shake hands. The amount of time he put into creating workouts and research he did to make us faster on the track was unreal and greatly appreciated. I'll never forget my sophomore year. It was the last chance at Brandon. I was running the 800. It was the first time I ran 153. I don't know if you were doing backflips, cartwheels, or what but you were bouncing around like crazy. And I know when I was at those track meets out of state and you were watching on the computer, you were bouncing, jumping around, cheering, just like you were that day. Greatly appreciate all my coaches and what they did for me during my time at WHS. The last thing I'd like to talk about is my teammates. Whether it was cross country or track, your teammates always played a big role. Josh Heitkamp played a big role in teaching me pacing when it was time to burn it and when it was time to sit back and wait. Him and I trained together for 2 summers, and I definitely learned a lot. Alex Holm, Cameron Sanis, Keegan Sarda, Aaron Clemens, Nate Gary, Jonah Warwick, Scott Strand, Casey Shade. We were all just a pack, and we fed off of one another and just kept always working hard together in workouts, and it paid off in the end. We had a couple 4x8 medley and 4x4 state championships, along with 2 state championships as well. Thank you, everyone, for coming out tonight. I hope you have a great night.
Washington High School is proud to induct Alex Waddell into the Washington High School Athletic Hall of Fame. I will find you, Jonah. I just saw you. Jonah couldn't be here tonight, and we have a short video, and then we'll ask John, his father, to come up and accept the trophy. So, thank you.
Jonah, I'm sorry I couldn't be there in person. Just wanted to send a quick video. Promise I'll be brief. First, just want to let you know how honored and humbled I am to get this award, to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. When I found out from Riley, Coach Riley, who else was going to get inducted, Emma and Carrie and Nate and Alex, I was kind of surprised because they are much more talented than I am. But either way, super grateful to get this award. And as everybody knows, that Washington is blessed with incredible coaches. I just wanted to give a shout out to a few that really helped me and encouraged me in my journey in high school, specifically Lene, Gebhardt, and Riley. They may or may not know, but I almost didn't even want to compete in high school after my middle school experience. So I'm just very grateful for your guidance and putting up with some of my shenanigans. So one thing you probably don't know, and I'll tell you since I'm not there, I think it was my junior year, I may or may not have missed track practice to play a junior varsity tennis match. So, yeah, but anyways, thank you so much for believing in me and helping me in my journey there. A few other things are just very thankful overall of all the friendships I made in high school sports. You know, it's tough growing up. High school is a tough time, and, I had some injuries and battled through some other things during my time there, and just very thankful for my experience that really helped me get through high school and have a good time there. And then lastly, just want to thank my mom and dad. I know that you're there. You always supported me since I was obviously young, and especially through high school, with going through lots of different things, and just very thankful. And I just want to let you know I love you guys. Yeah, that's kind of all I got, guys. Thank you again for this honor, and go Warriors.
My competition is not against the runner next to me. It's against the runner inside of me. Jonah was an all-state and all-conference performer and 4-time state champion. Winning titles as a member of the 4x4 in 2012 and 2013, the 4x8 in 2012, and the 800 in 2013. Jonah's dad, John, will accept the award. John, please come up. Washington High School is proud to induct Jonah Warwick into the Washington High Athletic Hall of Fame. That does it. I have a couple closing remarks. I want to encourage anybody who is interested in donating to the Hall of Fame to please do so. The budget's about this thin, and anything that you are willing to contribute and send is greatly welcome. Please contact Nate Malchow, and he'll take care of you on that. This is an organization that has functioned very, very well for many years. A lot of schools have their Hall of Fame every 3 or 4 years. Washington High has theirs every year. And I know with the athletes and participants such as tonight, we're never going to run out of people. The cornerstone of the building out here was set in 1935. And it states, on June 16th, 1935, students of Central School had the following engraved on the northwest corner of this historic building. The thing of most value and joy that takes place here is the flow of human interest. It is the spirit of the institution to be human in all of its activities. May the days spent here be filled to overflowing with scholastic attainment, courteous conduct, joy, and happiness, so that the rest of the journey progresses. Each life shall abound with gladness, and our high school days shall remain a happy memory. Thank you for being here tonight. Take care.